In the process right now of testing the 5 radio transmitters that we're hoping to install on the crows. And this is a radio receiver that is at the appropriate frequency range. It's going to be 217 megahertz. And it could, when you divide that megahertz into thousandths, you get millihertz. And so each transmitter is at its own unique frequency within the 217 megahertz band. This is called a directional antenna. Directional antenna simply means that the antenna receives best when pointed in a specific direction. If we were to imagine that the radio transmitter is somewhere in that direction, then when I pointed this antenna directly at the location of the radio transmitter, it would get the strongest signal. And then as I pan away in the wrong direction, I'm going to lose the signal. Once we know that the transmitter is in a given direction, then we go to another location, assuming that the bird doesn't move. We take a second straight line, and where the 2 straight lines are called vectors cross, that's where the bird is. If you drew a line between where I was standing the first time, where I was standing the second time, and the bird, it would be a triangle, and that's why it's called triangulation. Getting the signal to begin with, lots of times if you don't know where the bird is the most difficult component of what you're doing. So what I would do is I would set the frequency to a specific bird, put this Yagi antenna on top of a van that I'm driving, leave the receiver on inside the van, and just move in a search pattern, kind of a quasi-circular pattern, out from where I banded the bird until I heard just a beep in the background. Then I would remember which way the Yagi antenna was pointing on the roof, and I'd know that the bird is likely to be somewhere in that direction. And as I then drove in that direction by looking at a road map and figuring out how I could get into that direction, the signal should get louder and louder and louder. When I get into the vicinity of the bird, then I'll triangulate to actually locate the bird. And so even if the birds disperse a number of miles, what you can do is you can go and search for a specific bird by just searching outwards and trying to find a signal at that bird's frequency.